everyone. Thank you for attending this presentation. So I'm Lucy Whitehouse, as mentioned, and I'm the editor for Cosmetics Design Europe, and I'll go into more detail about what we do with cosmetics design later. But I want to get started with the presentation. So, anti-pollution. It's not working for me. Hold on a second. We'll just do it here. I need some technical assistance, I think. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I want to start by just giving you an understanding of what this presentation is going to cover. So we're going to divide it into three main sections. Firstly, I'll give a brief introduction to the trend and take a look at the science behind it all and what's driving the trend. And then I'll go into more detail of the current state of anti-pollution, so where we're at the moment. And I'll look at some of the market-leading products, some of the most innovative ingredients we've got on the market, and what the top trends are for the anti-pollution trend based on consumer demand. And then finally, in the third section, I'll conclude the presentation by looking at what's up ahead for anti-pollution. And we'll take a look at the current trends within it and how they're likely to develop and progress in the future. Just to note that I've gathered quite a lot of insights from various industry experts and organisations to put this presentation together. So I wanted to say a big thank you to them, and I'll mention them as I go through the presentation as well. Okay. So, what is anti-pollution? Anti-pollution is a blossoming trend across beauty and personal care, which, having begun in Asia, has risen to global prominence in recent years. And it's actually now one of the agenda-topping focuses for the industry, and it's increasingly referred to as the protection trend, as other external stresses are included in the anti-pollution umbrella. So, it's long been a consumer concern in Asia, with the region home to several of the most polluted cities in the world, including New Delhi and Bangalore in India, Karachi in Pakistan, and Shanghai and Beijing in China. So it's big in Asia, but it's also now becoming a massive consumer concern across the world as pollution levels hit the headlines across the world. So as you can see here, there's a headline in Asia. There's also this UK headline in recent weeks. And this study points out that it's actually becoming a big issue in Africa as well. So it truly is a global concern. So what is the pollution that consumers are worried about? Anti-pollution personal care encompasses all products which offer the skin protection against the impact of airborne pollution. It's got a particular focus on this thing called particulate matter, which is well known across Asia and is becoming increasingly known in the West as well. It's usually abbreviated to PM, and you've got PM10, which are the slightly bigger particles, and PM2.5. And many products focus on this PM2.5. And I'll go into more detail about what those are later on. Basically, evidence has shown that these cause the skin to age prematurely and speed up the signs of aging in the skin. And there are other pollutants that consumers are concerned about and which products are responding to. Pollen is a big one, and heavy metals as well. So let's just take a look at the consumer interest, and it is very strong. So in the US, it's slightly smaller, it's at 20%, but that's still a fifth of consumers who are saying that they identify pollution as a major source of aggression of the skin, according to this recent Clarins report. And then it's much bigger in Europe at 36%, which is interestingly not that much smaller than in Asia at 37%, showing that there is actually a lot of consumer interest in this issue. And this interest does seem to now be converting into purchases as well. This statistic from the drugstore chain Olive Young in Korea has come from consumer insight firm Consumer Asian Intelligence. And they note that the chain saw product sales for anti-pollution products rise 50% in April and May this year, compared to sales last year in 2015. So these are some of the key points about the trend, just to round up my little introduction to it. It spans categories, so cleansers and face creams and facial skincare is the major focus, but it also touches on hair care and sun care, with all areas seeing a rising numbers of products that make anti-pollution claims. It's been driven largely by multinationals taking this to the international audience. So brands like L'Oreal, Shiseido, Unilever, and Procter & Gamble are all playing a central role in bringing the trend to the global audience. Interestingly, it taps into the well-established global consumer demand for anti-aging and is actually in some ways an evolution of this trend, because a lot of the concerns with the impact of pollution are aging concerns. And it is also bolstered by the rising consumer interest in health and wellness, which is a trend you'll hear a lot of the market research firms picking up as being a massive thing driving forward personal care products at the moment. And that's something that the anti-pollution trend taps into quite intimately. And so many ingredients manufacturers, just on the final note, are being quick to develop anti-pollution solutions that are also natural and organic. So instead of having to retrospectively turn their products into natural and organic products, which most of the categories and trends we've seen so far have had to do, these companies and brands are preemptively making their products natural and organic because the anti-pollution trend is so closely linked with the green trend, which is something I'll go into much detail on further on in my presentation. So what is the science behind the trend? We spoke to Dr. Julia Fussell, ahead of the recent In-Cosmetics Formulation Summit, which took place in London just last month, and she was speaking there on the science behind it. Dr. Fussell is a senior research fellow and scientific communicator on the health effects of airborne pollution for King's College London University. So she's a real expert in the field of the science behind pollution and its impact on the skin. So according to Dr. Fussell, motor vehicles, power stations, and factories are the major culprits behind urban air pollution, causing pollution particles, these things called particulate matter that we spoke of earlier, and they're made up of oxides of nitrogen and ozone. So Fussell says that since the skin is an organ in direct contact with these air pollutants, an association between air pollution and skin damaging effects leading to skin aging is certainly possible. And she says that the skin's layers include protective proteins. So we've got keratin and collagen. And keratin is in the outer layer and collagen is further in. And they guard against moisture loss and they maintain the skin's elasticity. So if the levels of airborne pollution do come too high, it could potentially overload their protective capacity. Another quote from Dr. Fussell. It is likely that the defensive capacity provided by keratin and collagen is not unlimited. And if airborne pollution exceeds this protective potential, it could cause disturbances in or even damage to skin structure. Now, according to Dr. Fussell, information regarding these mechanisms that cause air pollution to cause skin damage is limited. There aren't that many studies and there is still more research to do. However, there are some studies that have begun to investigate the issue and they found that pollution can have various types of impact onto the skin. So, these are the three ones pointed out here. Pollution can cause aging of the skin. There was a study comparing the skin of women living in urban and rural areas and found that those who are exposed to higher levels of traffic-related pollution had more visible signs of aging in the form of hyperpigmentation. So that's age spots, which is a major aging concern within the Asia region. And they also was found to cause wrinkles, which is a major aging concern in the West. So that's, you can see there that is truly a global concern coming out. Another study pointed out by Dr. Fussell found that airborne pollution can cause hydration and barrier function problems. Again, it was compared to between consumers living in urban areas and consumers living in rural areas. Consumers living in urban areas were found to have lesser skin hydration and barrier function than those living in rural areas. And lastly, pollution has been found to aggravate pre-existing skin conditions. So individuals who have skin conditions such as atopic dermatitis and eczema have found that these can be exacerbated by the effects of pollution. So Dr. Fussell suggests that some people may be more susceptible to the effects of pollution due to sensitive skin. And she notes that the impact of pollution may vary depending on the individual's exposure pattern, and their ethnic group, and their skin type, and their age. So there are lots of factors that can affect how your skin is responding to pollution. And she notes that further studies are required to investigate this. So the point is that the science still needs to catch up with the consumer demand, but at the moment, it is a very strong consumer demand looking for these products. And I think that the industry has quite a big opportunity when it comes to anti-pollution skincare, because there currently isn't a single strict definition, and it's likely there won't actually ever be one, because there are so many variables in pollution. So there are variables in pollution types, in the skin types of consumers, and in the levels of exposure experienced by consumers. So it means there's actually enormous scope for the industry to take the lead on defining this trend, which I think is quite exciting for the industry. So that's the introduction to the trend. And now let's look at the current state of play, where we're at with anti-pollution. So we're looking here at the ingredients level. To make great products, the industry needs to make great anti-pollution actives. So here are a few that have been picked out for us by Belinda Carley, who's an expert on cosmetics and personal care ingredients. She's the president of the Institute of Personal Care Sciences. And she explained that since the emergence of the anti-pollution trend, ingredients have now evolved. So right down to the ingredient level, we're now seeing this multifunctional benefits coming out. I won't read them all out to you, but here's a selection that Belinda picked out for us. And you can see that with the antioxidant and detox effect at the top there. There's also UV, which again is a big player in anti-aging, and then there are some that are specifically wrinkle filling and anti-aging, and it's now moving into hair-specific materials as well. So, we're going to have a look at how these innovative ingredients are being put into applications and what the products are that we're seeing on the market. So anti-pollution is definitely currently most dominant in skincare, particularly in facial skincare, where products tend to be split across three key functions. So we have products that prevent the impact of pollution, we have products that cleanse the skin from pollution, and we have products that repair the skin after it's been damaged by pollution. I'm going to try and play a video now. Let's see if that works. Nope. Okay. So this is a video, I'll just explain what it was. It's a video from Ren Skincare, which is actually a London-based company, which shows again its global reach of this trend. And their product is Flash Defense Anti-Pollution Mist, which you can see in the top corner there. And what's interesting about this video is that you hear the company explaining all of these key marketing terms around prevent, around protect, and cleanse and repair. So a lot of the products are offering benefits right across this range. And another interesting aspect of the video is its global reach. You can see landmarks from countries and regions across the world displayed in this one skyline, again emphasizing that idea of a global trend. Okay, now let's look at some specific products. So we've got Laneige's all-day anti-pollution defensor here. And it claims to protect the skin from particle pollution and strengthen its defenses. Also blocks UV rays and has a whitening effect. And it contains what Laneige calls its dust block material. So basically, dust block uses a magnetic effect to repel pollution. It has a negative charge, which repels particles that are also negative, like pollution, and thus removes them from the skin. So next to the Laneige, you've got also this April Skin Shield Moisture Cream, which works in a very similar way. It basically, again, repels minute dust particles and retains skin moisture using that negative charge. So negative charge formulations are quite big in this area of preventing and protecting the skin before pollution has a chance to impact on it. Then we move into the cleansing and the repair area. Masks, cleansing masks, seem to be at the forefront of this trend in Asia, and they are becoming an increasingly widespread phenomenon in the Western region as well. So often, like in the case of this example of Celpium's Vampire Cleansing Mask, They are left on the face for a number of minutes until a foam forms. So what's very important for cleansing when it comes to anti-pollution is this sensory experience, the idea of feeling that your skin is being cleaned of the pollution. And masks are a great way to do that. So when we come on to repairing, here's an example from CMP. They're Dr. Derma BBB creams. They aim to help with healing and strengthening the skin, along with the added functions of whitening and anti-aging. So increasingly, brands are launching products across all three of these areas. So we're seeing Clinique, a major international brand, has launched a full range of products under the City Block title, which aim to prevent the impact of pollution, cleanse it, and repair the skin. And then Clarins, again, is another leader in the trend, with a range of products from cleansing milks to moisturizers boasting anti-pollution claims. In fact, most brands now feature anti-pollution in some form in their product offerings. For example, Shiseido and Pond's, all big players. Indeed, it's increasingly rare to find a major brand that doesn't have at least some products making protection claims now. And it's this idea of protection that is really big. Anti-pollution is definitely now becoming more widespread as these multifunctional benefits are attached to it, and it's under this umbrella of protection. So those are all the skincare products, but what about hair care and makeup? Well, yes, we have anti-pollution products that are touching on those categories too. So with hair care, often brands are just using their pre-existing products but marketing them now as anti-pollution, because a lot of hair care products are able to wash away these particles, these particulate matter anyway. They've already got that functionality, but it's just a case now of them being marketed as specifically anti-pollution. However, we are also seeing specific anti-pollution ranges launching on the market. So Schwarzkopf, they've launched their Extra Care Purify and Protect range, and it was launched earlier this year, responding to demand from Chinese consumers. So this came out in China, and it's what Henkel, the parent company of Schwarzkopf, Henkel said that this is the first anti-pollution repair range of hair products, and it's the direct result of innovation from their Asia-Pacific local research and development. So we're seeing a lot of multinationals focusing on this idea of responding to local concerns and rolling it out in a local way, despite the fact it is a global consumer trend. Within anti-pollution, there are very specific regional variations as well. We come into makeup. Bourjois has married the anti-pollution trend with color cosmetics. This summer, it launched a Color Cosmetics City Radiance Foundation, which contains SPF 30, and it also has an anti-pollution screen that reduces the presence of carbon particles on the skin. So that's the current state of the trend. Let's look at the future. According to Mintel, market research firm, only 3% of facial skincare launches had the word pollution in their marketing last year. So that suggests there's huge room for growth in this category, as we saw the consumer demand was at 19%, 36% and 37% across the world, and yet only 3% of launches last year had the word pollution. So looking ahead for the trend, as mentioned, this multifunction is set to take center stage. And one key area where this is going to happen is with UV protection. So merging of UV protection with anti-pollution products is increasingly important as more research is being done into the effects of UV and found that the harmful UV rays may actually exacerbate and make the effects of airborne particles on the skin worse. So those two things are getting increasingly closely related. Naturals, as I mentioned, is an area that is likely to play a major part in the upcoming evolution of the anti-pollution trend. According to Mintel, botanicals are the most common source of anti-pollution claims at the moment. So those natural ingredients are leading the charge. Specialist research and consulting company Organic Monitor, they recently released a report that considers the overlap between green concerns and anti-pollution. And the firm says this is being seen specifically at the moment in the influence of natural ingredients that are coming from food. So food is proving a big influencer on this. Here's a quote from Organic Monitor on that. The palette of natural ingredients used for anti-pollution applications is widening. Green tea, artichokes, acai berry, and moringa are some of the food ingredients making their way into cosmetics products because of their high level of antioxidants and ability to protect skin cells. Clarins, again, as I mentioned before, Clarins is in particular one of the leaders tapping into the overlap between naturals and anti-pollution, and it's actually growing dedicated anti-pollution plants to produce the natural actives for its skincare ranges. So Clarins is really taking this trend seriously. So technical hurdles are one area which might be a point of concern for the industry when looking to produce natural products that are anti-pollution benefits. So according to Organic Monitor, developing green functional skincare products brings issues related to sustainability, brings issues related to stability, preservation, and performance. So those are the three areas where it can be quite difficult to make effective anti-pollution skincare products. But the company calls out Derma-E, Ren, and Tata Harper as some of the natural brands that are leading the way in meeting this formulation challenge. So lastly, up ahead, I think we've got to focus on sustainability, because until brands are able to innovate and produce anti-pollution products in a truly sustainable and green way, there's going to be an irony at the heart of the anti-pollution trend. And this is something Organic Monitor have picked up on. They say that growing awareness of air pollution and its environmental and health impacts are stimulating consumer demand for products. However, although such products are treating skin conditions caused by pollution, they can actually have a detrimental impact on the environment themselves. So that's why it's really important that brands taking this trend forward need to consider their impact on the levels of pollution itself. Otherwise, there's going to be this inherent irony in the whole thing. So it falls to brands to create products that protect the skin and also reduce the impact of the category on the environment. And that's just where I want to conclude it, really, by noting that the increasing focus on sustainability is fast becoming a key industry concern. In fact, it's going to be a major focus at the In-Cosmetics Global Show in April because of how much consumers are now demanding that brands have an ethical and sustainable profile. So taking the anti-pollution trend forward in a way that minimizes its environmental impact is going to be a key area of focus, I think. So on that positive note of caution for taking forward this exciting trend, that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. But before we just finish up, I just wanted to explain to you a little bit about Cosmetics Design, the company I work with, who we are and what we do. So Cosmetics Design is the leading news publication for the worldwide cosmetics and personal care industry. And we publish daily breaking news on all areas of the industry, right across the supply chain, covering packaging innovation, scientific research, regulatory challenges, business analysis, market trends, and brand innovation. And it's all free to access, so you can come onto our sites any day of the week and find new and exciting news content free to access anytime. And we also have lots of expert opinion and guest articles from industry leaders, which are always worth a read. We're a team of highly experienced journalists, and we've built up a knowledge base that covers the whole industry. But we also have a global reach, most importantly. So you see we've got 3 different websites. Our journalists in the US, based in New York and Chicago, they cover the cosmetics.com website, cosmeticsdesign.com, and they offer news and analysis across the Americas. And then we've also got the Asia website in the middle there. And that spans the entire Asia-Pacific region, offering news and analysis of the industry across that region, including the various exciting emerging markets here. And then lastly, we've got Cosmetics Design Europe, of which I'm the editor. And it's the leading news website in the cosmetics industry in Europe. And we also cover in that website the Middle East, North Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa as those regions continue to develop and grow. So thank you very much for listening, and please do get in touch.